We are out here on Lake of the Ozarks. It is the dead of winter. We have water temps anywhere from 38 to 42, maybe a little warmer. And a lot of people think that that's too cold to catch a bass, or they're too lethargic and you're just not going to catch very many, when in reality that's far from the truth. These last couple years, I have made it a point to learn how to catch these wintertime bass, because you can catch some of the biggest bass of your life as well as some of the biggest stringers of your life. And I kind of want to share with you guys a couple tips that I've learned along the way. Now, I get it, there are all kinds of different ways to catch a bass on a jerkbait, but a couple things that I've learned that have helped me, I'm going to share with you guys. I kind of want to just simplify it when doing this. And what I mean by that is, don't go buy 1,000 different colors and switch all through them. When you get a sunny day, throw a color that's got some reflectors on it, like the sun will bounce off of it and it'll shine really well. When it's cloudy like a day like today, you want to throw more dull colors. Go to sensefishing.com, check out the Provoke jerkbait. They have all kinds of colors on there. But like I said before, just simplify it. Get you a dull color when it's cloudy and get you a little shiny color when it's sunny. Make sure you use code BRADJ10 when checking out. You'll save yourself 10%. When you get these jerkbaits out of the box, the quality is great. You're not going to open the box and put it in the water and the jerkbait's not going to sink like a rock. It's either going to suspend perfectly or it's going to float. And when a jerkbait floats, what I like to do is I get lead wire and I wrap it around the hooks and I get it to where it suspends perfectly or it sinks slow. When fishing a jerkbait, the number one thing you have got to make sure to not do is fish it too fast. Get on a stretch of bank that's got a lot of rock changes or points on it, slow down, and really take your time picking that bank apart, because there's probably a bass around there. If you catch one, stick around, because they group up and you can catch a lot of them. I cannot tell you how many times I've gone down a bank and actually have caught 20 pounds of bass with my best 5. As mentioned before, there are all kinds of different ways to fish a jerkbait, but there are 2 key things that stick out to me that I think everybody should do. The first one being getting the max use out of that jerkbait while it's down in the strike zone. So you want that jerkbait to be in the strike zone as long as possible. And that starts with having your boat positioned off of the bank far enough to where you can make a super long cast. When you make a really long cast, you want it to land just in front of the bank and work it down to that desired depth. So if those fish are in 8 foot of water, if you make a 20-foot cast, that jerkbait's only going to get down to that 8 foot of water for about 1 to 2 seconds. And when you make a super long cast, you can get it down to that 8 foot zone and you can work it back all the way back to the boat in that 8 foot depth zone. The second thing that I think everybody should be doing is working their jerkbait with slack in their line. Now, you don't have to sit there with a huge bow in your line and twitch it and move it a half an inch at a time, but I do think it is important that when you are using your bait and twitching it, you do have a little bit of slack. And what I mean by that is, you'll notice when you go to twitch your jerkbait, you'll feel that thing pull in the water. I like to feel the jerkbait pull at the very end of my twitch, so I have just a little bit of bow in my line, and when I go to twitch it, I feel it pull at the last second. And then once I feel it pull, I almost recoil and point the rod tip back at the jerkbait in the water. And I'll continue to do that. There might be a different way that somebody has figured out to catch one, and it might not be how I'm catching them. These are just tips that I think will help you guys catch fish in the future, and don't be afraid of this cold water, this cold weather, because you can catch the biggest bass of your life.